Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Trish Delish. Today I'm making my all-time favorite Filipino dessert called unsalted. It's a cashew meringue cookie layered with creamy buttercream. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. If you're ready, let's get started. And we'll start by separating 6 eggs from the whites and the yolks. And I do that in a separate bowl just in case I accidentally break one of the yolks. We won't be using any of the yolks today, so you can save that for making frittatas or custards or anything like that. So we'll get this started on medium so it's nice and frothy. We'll add a half teaspoon of cream of tartar and continue to whip. At this point, we're going to slowly add in our granulated sugar and whip until a firm meringue. So we've taken it off our machine and look how nice and fluffy that meringue is. We are going to gently fold some finely chopped cashews in there. We'll do it in 2 batches, just so we don't deflate the meringue. And as usual, the recipe and ingredients can be found down below in the description box. The oven is preheated to 300 degrees, and I've measured out on my parchment paper rectangles that are 4 inches by 10 inches. And we're just going to use a small offset spatula to spread this into each of our rectangles. You can use a piping bag or a zip top bag with a small hole in the corner to do this, but I wanted to show today how you could do it without those special tools. I also just tacked down the corners with a little bit of meringue in each of the corners so that my parchment doesn't move while I'm spreading out the meringue. And you want to get this to about 1/2 inch thick. Just push everything to the sides, as close to the line as you can get. Alright, we'll get these in the oven until they are nice and crisp on the edges and firm to the center. Our meringues have been baking for about 35 minutes. It's nice and crisp on the edges and just a little bit tender and soft on the centers. So I'll get the other tray in the oven, allow both trays to fully cool before I frost and assemble. While they're cooling, I'll go ahead and make my favorite batch of buttercream with condensed milk and butter. To make the buttercream, you're going to whip 1 pound of butter with 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk that's been in the refrigerator. For the full instructions and full video, you can follow the link above for my Pinono recipe, in which I have full details of how to make this buttercream. Our cookie meringues are cooled, and I've used a thin spatula to kind of loosen it from the parchment paper. And I have our favorite buttercream here, and I'm just going to spread a thin layer on each of the cookie meringues and stack them up to make a 6-layer unsalted. Remember, you only need a really thin layer because you're going to have 6 layers of butter. So it's okay if your meringue cracks because you're going to go ahead and stack them anyway. So don't be afraid. when they crack, it's still perfectly usable. Alright, now that I have 3 layers buttered, I'm just going to stack them and line them up as best I can. And when I do the last top layer, what I want to do is actually flip my meringue over and frost the top so that this will be the smoothest layer for our sensory ball. We added the top layer onto all of our cookie meringues, and you can see we have 6 beautiful meringue cookies filled with buttercream. I'll frost the sides of the cake and then dust on some crushed graham crackers mixed with chopped cashews. This is my crushed up graham crackers with my chopped cashews. I'm just going to kind of run my fork through it to loosen up any large clumps that may have settled while I chopped it. And here comes the messy part. I set my sensory ball just on a scratch piece of cardboard just to help support the bottom of the cake until I transfer to my final cake board. And you'll just take palmfuls of your crumbs and press them into the butter. And we'll shake off any of the excess here in just a minute. And if you do this on a sheet pan like this, you can reuse the crumbs that come off the cake. Alright, now that the sides are done, I'm actually going to put a thin layer of crumbs also on the top of my cake. And this also helps because you can hide any flaws on the top. So it's a very forgiving cake. And we'll dust any of the extra crumbs off by gently shaking. Alright, I have my final cake board and I'm just going to smear a little bit of buttercream on the bottom so that our sensory ball does not slide off when we are transporting it. And then I'm going to just slide off the cake from our parchment using a spatula and very, very gently lay it on our final cake board. And there you have it, our fully completed sensory ball cake. Thanks for joining me today while I made my recipe for sensory ball. If you enjoyed this video and recipe, don't forget to hit the thumbs up like button down below and share this video with your family and friends. If you ever make any of my recipes, I'd love to know how they turned out. Post them to Instagram and tag me at @TrishDelish. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.